In today's online world, it's hard to find the right choice when it comes to marketing services. It becomes incredibly simple when you know what questions to ask. That's why today we're sitting down with a local expert on marketing services who's going to share some insightful information on searching for the perfect professional.
Well, thanks again for having me here today, Sarah. I really appreciate the opportunity for the interview. You know, I do think it's a really big question that business owners face oftentimes when they're trying to participate in social media. It's like, how do I create content that engages? I hear that's important. I see it. I don't know, how does that happen? And I get why they ask that question, because honestly, most of their employees, people that they have working for them, aren't capable of that. It's not because they're not smart or they're not maybe even creative. They just don't have the tools. That's not what they do, so it becomes laborious. It's like pulling teeth. It's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. So I have three suggestions I'd like to share with your viewers. One is understand that the graphics that you post socially that engage people are from a professional. That's what works. A professional has an eye. It's like the difference between you taking a picture with your camera, and as good as cameras are today, somebody that's a professional takes a picture and you're like, how did they get that angle? How did they make it look like that? Why? Because they have an eye for it. They're professional. That's the difference. Just like whatever that business owner does. They're professional at that. And so that makes a difference in their industry. So being professional makes a big difference about how graphics and posts get created, right? Number two is creativity. It's creativity. And let's face it, most of us live our life in a habit. We get up and do the same things every day. We don't get outside our little box. But for social posting kinds of things, you have to get creative. You have to get outside the box. And you have to know what will let you, the tools that will let you get outside the box. And then the third, all of it, none of it matters. I don't care if it's professional and creative if you don't consistently post. That's the big part too. Oftentimes you find business owners get started with all that and then the ball gets dropped because they don't post. And you look at their social media account and the last time they posted was 3 months ago. And you wonder, okay, are they still in, especially with the, kind of what's happened over the last 2 years, are they still in business? Did they go out of business? Did they change their business model? What happened to them? So I think that's important. So if your viewers if you don't mind, and I'd like to show your viewers 18 ways that they can be creative with their social content. Particularly, when we talk about Facebook and Instagram, those are big platforms. There's billions of users on there, and there's some ways to do that. So I like to, let's just get to the computer and show them what that looks like. So yeah, we want to unpack this for you so you can understand a little bit about the three things we just talked about in the interview of how important it is by answering the question, how do I make engaging posts on my social accounts? How do I do that? Because that's really the point of engaging in putting content out on social media is the engagement component. How do you do that? There is an art and a science to it. I want to share some of that with you. So we're going to talk about two things in this training today, primarily the kind of content that creates engagement and how to use the content to create engagement. We're going to look a little bit about that today. Here are some of the components in our recipe of posting, if you please, of content. Proper graphics, fonts and elements, design elements, education, variety, series, industry-specific, branding, authority building, follower-centric, explainer type, tips and hacks, consistency, question post, motivational post, story post, highlight post, behind the scenes. Each of these are part of a tried and proven formula that help create engagement in social media accounts. Now today I'm going to primarily talk about Facebook, but it can also be true for Instagram. It can also be true for Twitter. It can also be true for Pinterest, for LinkedIn, for your Google My Business page. All of these principles apply, but the graphics I'm going to use today, what I'm going to talk about today, primarily fit in 4 of those, that being Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. So technically 5 that you could use this in. And you could also, of course, use these same kind of graphics for your Google My Business. So let's get started on those. What makes a post engaging? A professionally licensed graphic. The reason I say that is because you can't just go get graphics out there and use them. Oftentimes people do that and they get listed as somebody who's violated a copyright law of somebody else's content because they just went to Google and typed in an image and saw one they liked and grabbed it, and come to find out it's copyrighted. You can't be using it. Number two, there are hundreds of millions of graphics out there of photographs and pictures on the internet that you can get access to many times for free, right? But it's how do you figure out which ones to use? There are so many. People get bogged down. They pick a few and they use the same one over and over again. Then people become blind to your post. You need different graphics and you need licensed graphics like this. You can tell this picture fits this statement. The person is fit. The person is focused. The person is not giving up. They're training hard. I don't know if you've ever tried to stand on one leg or not, but it's not easy. It's not easy. And then the whole setting kind of provides that clean feeling, right? When you look at that picture, that is a psychological, creative, graphic approach, like I mentioned in the interview earlier. Then you have to think about the concept of fonts and placement. Notice how the fonts are easy to read in this. They got background behind them. There's a little bit of design to it. It's not just words on a page. They're in the right place. They don't cover up. They don't cover up the image. They're big enough to read, especially on a phone, because you have to keep that in mind when you're creating graphics. People are going to be looking at these things oftentimes on a phone. And if you got little bitty writing that almost is the same color as the graphic, it's hard to read. People don't pay attention. They move on. Then you have engaging posts that involve eye-catching design elements. Notice how this picture is highlighting the fence builder for someone in the fence industry, but it's got this unique design to it. It's kind of like it's a cutout, right? Notice it also has the phone number and the URL, and it will follow that post around. This design element helps people spread your business when you post it on your page and they share it. Say, hey, here's a cool fence. You were talking about a fence the other day. Here's a cool fence I saw. Boom, there it is. It's a very professional picture. It's got some great design content to it. The colors work together. And of course, the URL and the phone number make it a marketable piece for your business. Eye-catching design elements. An engaging post that's audience educated. It educates the audience. It gives them information that they might not otherwise know. Notice again the professional picture. Notice again a little bit of the creative graphic component in the title up there. Roofing facts that might surprise you. That's just not text on a page. It's got some design to it. It shows professionalism. And then notice the statement, a faulty roof can break a home sale. That's, we might think that is common sense, but not always. Not always. Why not think about it? This puts it in front of people. It shows that this business owner is trying to improve the life of the people that follow their page, their customers, their clients, their prospects. Then notice variety is important. Variety, as someone said, is the spice of life. It's important that everything doesn't look the same. Notice in this case, it uses almost a cartoon type graphic of a sunbeam, right? And then notice how they pop out the text that they're trying to talk about. Again, this is one of those educational type posts, an informative type post. And then notice up at the top right or top left that the way they created the graphic component there. This is not just simply copy a picture and put some text over it and throw it up on your social media page. Again, it takes creativity, like we mentioned before. It takes somebody that's a graphic professional to understand how to do this well. And of course, it takes consistency in posting this, just like we mentioned in the interview. Here's a come back and see, what I call the series approach. Come back and see. Notice the date. Okay, today's this day. In this case, March the 2nd. Okay. Well, okay, what was on March the 1st? I missed that. Let me go back and see it. Oh, what's going to be on the 3rd? I'll come back tomorrow and catch this. You see how it creates a comeback approach. It talks about a well-known fact here. Okay. Oh, okay. A lot of people would know who this is, right? Whether it was kids or adults. Oh yeah, Dr. Seuss. Yeah, boom, here it is. And then notice the bright title, This Day in History. Oh, okay. Now you might say, what does that got to do with your business? Remember, everything's not about your business. Every post about your business, people would quit paying attention. This provides variety, but it also creates a series of people to come back to your page and see about it and find about it. It also makes it shareable. When content comes up that other people find is important to them, they'll share it with their friends. Oh, hey, I saw that. Remember when we were growing up as kids and we saw Dr. Seuss? We read Dr. Seuss books? Yeah, hey, I didn't know this. Look what I found out. Make your post engaging by using industry-specific type posts. In this case, here's an insurance agent that sells automobile insurance. So a lot of their posts are going to be around things in the automobile insurance industry. And so they create posts like that. This is a series of 9 posts that an insurance agent might use that's both educational, that gives facts, that promotes their agency. So it's important that you put in the context of what you're doing on your page, industry-specific post. In other words, things that point to your type of business and what you're doing. It's also important to brand it with the logo. So here we have the graphic down in the corner. Notice it's very simple. It's very easy. Everywhere this gets shared, it's got your graphic, your logo. So somebody else can't steal it. Or if they do steal it, which is the best kind of flattery compliment that you could have is, oh, they really liked it. They shared it. Well, people are going to see your logo, not somebody else's. That's an important component. Now, you can also brand it with your URL to your website. You could brand it with your phone number. You could do all 3. But again, you got to watch out and keep it clean and simple so people notice it. You also want to use posts that are authority building. Here we have a post that is actually a repost of their 5-star review that someone left for them on Yelp. That's important. Here, people are talking about us. People are leaving us recommendations. It builds authority. And of course, notice it also has, of course, the phone number. Call us today, a call to action. You like what you're saying at our company? Great. Notice the color scheme. Notice the face and the picture. All that's a part of being a professional. Professionals know those kinds of things. They know how to get those kinds of images. Again, licensed image. Also, consistency is important. One of the things that we found out about consistency is most people aren't going to be consistent. So just pay somebody to do it. And another training I did, I talked about that. Maybe you should just quit trying to post stuff and let a professional do it, because consistency matters. People seeing it today, tomorrow, the next day. And so that becomes important. So the done for you social posting is important. Consistent daily posting. Here happens to be a series for trainers and gyms in a certain niche. Again, pointing that out. Then there's the tips and hacks kind of posts where a business comes along. Notice their logo up in the top corner. Notice how they numbered their tip. Oh, this is number 8. What's number 7? Wonder what number 9 might be. Notice they point out, they put the tip itself inside the post. So wherever this post gets shared among fans of this kind of thing, then their tip is going to be carried out and their logo goes along with it. So tips and hacks is key. Explainer posts. I love explainer posts because it is good information that everybody can use. And it gives people the opportunity to as a business owner, to share it. Here's a free tip. Here's something you can use in real life, right? Who's owned a car and never had a dead battery? Or hadn't been asked, hey, can you give me a jump? And you're kind of like, well, nobody taught me how to do that. Well, here's just a simple explainer post, all in one image to explain exactly How do you do this? Now, can you go watch a YouTube video on this? Yes, but here's a post that does exactly that without creating a video, the time consumption of a video. Engagement posts are real important because it's about your fans, your followers, your customers, your clients, your patients, whatever you call them. You need to make them feel important. How do you do that? Your posts and graphics are about them and stuff they're interested in. How do you do that? You ask them. You find out. You do research. That's what our professionals do. They do research. What are people who in X industry, what is it their fans, their clients, or patients, what are they interested in? Let's put posts up like that. Notice the smiling faces. Notice the intentionality of the picture. That's not happenstance. That's how professionals work. Great engaging questions. Great engaging, this or that. Great contest idea. This or that. If you were an ice cream place or a restaurant, you could use this to say, who wants to win free dessert? Tell us which one's your preference. This or that. Chocolate or white chocolate. And you get engagement by people. People share it. Oh, hey, take this, blah, blah, blah. That's how this happens. And create engaging questions and put it in the graphic to get content. Use the story feature. Both Facebook and Instagram have a story feature where you can post to another component that lasts for a day that people see called stories. Instagram also has one along with that called Reels, which is for video content. And so here you find a way to take your content and use it multiple ways. Okay, you can use this both ways, and we design them so that the standard square graphic that goes on in your timeline, it also is a match to what you would post in the story or that we would post in your storyline. That's how that's done. And then motivational. Motivation's really important to help people be motivated about themselves and your business. So here's a motivational quote. It's very simple. I will get there. Very determined. Notice it's got the graphic up in the top that brands it. That's key. That's important. Everywhere this goes and gets shared, creates engagement, and it shares your business with other people. Highlight employees. If you have employees in your business or customers that will give you permission, highlight them. Talk about their story. Talk about what they do for your business. Talk about what some things about their job that they carry out or their service that they perform. Talk about them. Take pictures. Notice in this case, we put them in round circles. Why? Because the eye focuses on the face. We want to draw attention to what they're doing. We want that to be very employee focused. And then one of the last ones that we talked about that we'd share the 18 is show behind the scenes in your business. People love to hear your story. People love to see, how do you do what you do? How does this happen? Kind of like, how's the sausage made? It tastes great, but how do you make it? What's involved in it, and kind of thing. So you can show behind the scenes shots, behind the scene videos, and that really, really helps the process. So hey, real quick, let's talk about, did we answer the question? Did we really talk about how do I do this? How do I create engaging posts? Did we show you the kind of content that creates engagement? Yes, we gave you 18 kinds. Did we show you how to use the content to create engagement? Yes, we did that. So if you'd like a PDF of this presentation to use as a guide, if you're trying to do it yourself, then you can go to www.socialpostingmachine.com/engage, and you can get a PDF of this content. So I hope today's training has helped you understand that. Feel free to reach out to us and of how we can help you.
See, it really is that simple. Now you have some great tools to find the right professional to help you get on your way. If you're interested in learning more about what today's expert had to say, just call the number on your screen. Thank you for joining us.